Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Lighty, and today's video we're talking about Cyclone and its AoE and its weapon range changes. As far as what we've seen with the changes to Cyclone Gem and Beta. Now, in a second I'm going to show you this discussion I had with a friend of mine about Cyclone's new gem and the changes it made with the AoE changes and weapon range. So yeah, this is the clip. This is the conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys find some insightful information about this. If you have any questions about Cyclone's weapon range or AoE in general, the calculations behind it, feel free to ask them in the comments below. Either myself or the gentleman in the video with me will answer them promptly. So have a good day, guys. So I'm looking at the weapon range representation chart. I'll post it in Discord. I'm sure you've seen it before, but how exactly is weapon range representative of your AoE? Because you have percent AoE entry and you have your base weapon range. So I'm using a two-hand axe. I have 11 weapon range, plus Cyclone gives you 4 more, puts you at 15. Master the Arena puts you at 16, and you got maybe Warlord's Reach for 17. Realistically,
yeah, Warlord's Reach is like the ice on the sun. It's like the cherry on the sundae, I'd say.
So say if I had 20 weapon range.
Yeah.
What is 20% AoE going to do to that? Does that just give me...
Okay, so you have to calculate the total area of your circle and then multiply it by 1.2. That's what you have to do, because the scale, it happens on 2 factors. One is radius, which then gets squared and multiplied by pi. That's the formula, right? Pi r squared.
Yep.
So every time you add radius, it's just a bigger base to get squared and that's why it scales quadratically. And as you add radius, adding more radius becomes even more powerful. Like the more you have, the better it gets. And that's why they made the changes, because if you keep adding, they wanted it to scale with diminishing returns, like pretty much everything else in this game, you know. So like it's the same thing as if you add like increased percent physical damage on the tree. If you have 200 and you add like 10%, you know, that's not really 10%. You have so much already, it's going to be like a lot less. They wanted AoE to scale in a similar way. Radius doesn't do that because it's squared itself. So you have that. You calculate the area of your circle, which is like what you're going to hit with your Cyclone, and then you multiply that by your scaling for area of effect. So like that's the new thing, you know, Cyclone area of effect. So you multiply that, you get your total area now, and then you like you reverse put it through the radius. So pi r squared, you just do the reverse formula to get your new radius again. So that's what my spreadsheet does, basically.
Give or take, if I'm looking, you're looking at the range representation chart I posted, like the
yeah.
thing?
So if you have 20, right? That's what you said you have. So you're basically using a 13 weapon.
Yep.
Okay, but now you have a level 21 Cyclone.
Sure.
Right?
So like end game, I'll be at like 20 weapon range, pretty much, all things.
Yeah, you'll be at, and then
give or take,
with a few little things like Master Rate. You won't have Razor's Edge, or you may, but yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say end game you're at 20. Your area will be pi times 20 squared. So it's just, if you want to put that comes out to about 1,256 units of surface area. If you're just using Dying Sun and Cyclone quality, then you have to just multiply that by 1.3, and then calculate your new radius based on that overall area. Are you going to use area of ink AoE?
I would endgame. That'd be my 6th gem, probably.
Okay, so then you're going to have a radius of 25.
Okay, so the 20 becomes 25, give or take.
Yeah, give or take. You know, obviously a little bit here, a little bit there on the percentage you volley, you get.
So it really is nowadays that increased AoE looks like it gives a lot. Like, I know there's diminishing returns, but in general, it gives a lot less AoE than weapon range does. Like, weapon range is just such a more of like a pure addition to your range versus AoE.
It's a quadratic addition. It's like even more powerful than just adding it. Because again, it's multiplied by itself.
Like if you were at 25, say give or take AoE, right? And you got 2 more from valuing your weapon, and it happened to roll +2. Okay, as the implicit.
Okay, so just valuing your weapon.
No, I'm saying if you went from 25 to 27, that increase in range would be like what, like 30% AoE you'd have to get to make that same difference up?
If you vol your weapon, okay, you're not going from 25 to 27. You're going from 25 to 27.8 because again, your weapon range is at the beginning of the formula.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get it. If you add 2, you don't just add 2. You have to take 2, multiply it. Like you have to take your new base, which is 22. So instead of 20 times 20 times 3.14, it's 22 times 22 times 3.14. Then you go through your area of effect, and I'm including 10% quality, 20% quality on Cyclone, and a 2120 in KOE.
So there's no real like ratio to like one weapon range equals X amount of increased AoE.
No, you have you have to like really know how much you can do your formula. Like you can like pi r squared times your basically your 1 plus your increased area of effect. That's the formula as general as I can make it.
Yeah.
So 3.14 times r times and then in brackets 1 plus area scaling. That's going to be your thing. That's going to be your total area, and then you'll have to use the formula, like reverse formula, to get the radius again out of overall, which is what my thing does. But I've done this so many times. I said I'm just going to make a sheet because I just want to be able to plug numbers and see the end result.
So if I'm a newer player and just want to get more Cyclone AoE, the best advice is to just try to scramble for weapon range because it just scales the best. I mean, there's not a whole lot of options you have. Realistically, you've mastered the arena, Warlord's Reach, and then your base weapon range plus Cyclone weapon range, and potentially you can get a Disfavor or Salute down the road and Razor's Edge if you really want to go swords, but then you're going swords, so you're already kind of lost. And then that's about it.
Both swords aren't as bad as they used to be.
True,
because they buffed the Razor's Edge cluster.
But if you're not using like Starforge and you're not using, and you have to get a pretty big fucking rare because there's no real uniques.
Well, there's only Terminus S, but you know how I scaled that in
Condos is like okay-ish.
Yeah, Condos is okay. It's what I call like a beginner weapon.
Yep, it's like Primacy.
In Legacy, how I scaled Terminus S was Abyssus. That's literally what I had to do.
Yeah.
Because it was like, 400 PDPS, and but it had a fat crit chance. I said, well, it's a crit sword. I'm gonna scale it through crit, not through anything else. Yeah.
I think there's anything else like that has to do with weapon range that even exists. It's just pretty much the pinnacle of it.
Basically, that's all you have. You have your initial weapon range, which on a two-hand sword or a two-handed axe is 11. Cyclone, which starts at 2 and now seems to add 3 up to level 20, and another 6 there potentially. Salute, Master, Razor's Edge, the Vegan Craft, or like a Disfavor mod, Vol Implicit, Warlord's Reach. That's basically all you get.
Overall, Cyclone's getting more AoE.
It's getting definitely they're adding the most powerful way to scale it, and they're giving you 4 more units of it.
It's actually pretty big on the tree. Like 15 to like 20 is pretty.
Yeah, it's massive.
Pretty massive AoE.
And the reason it
looks to be roughly like a 30%, almost 30% like more AoE than you had, or like something like that. It looks to be like a lot. It's a pretty big difference in this, like the size of the circle, 15 versus 20, which is what it's going to be after scaling pretty much. Wow, well, wasn't that exciting? A little math discussion about Cyclone's AoE. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Basically, long story short, Cyclone's getting a 25 to 30% AoE, buff that it used to have. It's a noticeable difference, it really is. Hopefully this in combination with how Cyclone now can curve edges, how it has better edge detection, really makes Cyclone feel and act a lot better. And that about wraps it up, guys. I hope you guys have a good day. I'm Lighty, and I'll see you guys later.